Hello, Kipsters. Today we will be continuing working with our recorder lessons. We are on recorder lesson 3. Now, if you've been following along on nebomusic.net, remember recorder lesson 3 is not the same as exercise 3. Okay, exercise 3 is on the first page. Exercise 7 is what we'll be working on or starting on today. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to go backwards one. I like to actually do the previous lesson that we did the day before and work forward. So we're gonna start with exercise 6. If you're following along on that nebomusic.net page, recorder lessons. Remember, you can also just Google recorder lessons, and it should be one of the first links to pop up. And you can follow along with me on that page while I'm talking, or practice alone, or just watch the video and put it in full screen so you can read the notes as well. So again, today we're going to start with Merrily We Roll Along, and then we will move on to recorder lesson 3 and learn 2 new pieces while working on the French song again as well today. All right. So Merrily We Roll Along. Remember, we're working with 3 notes here: B, A, and G. Remembering that our posture is straight. You can see Mr. Isaac just sat up so that he can play as well as he possibly can while sitting. It's much better to stand, but I'm asking you to sit while we play this. If you want to stand, that's okay. But right now, sitting seems to be the best way to get everyone acquainted with this instrument. Okay, so making sure that we're sitting, our feet are on the ground, ready to tap if we need to. We're not playing too loudly so our instrument doesn't squeak. We're also covering every hole with every part of our finger and working with the notes B, A, and G, while also reading the notes on the page, making sure we know that this is a quarter note, this is a half note, this is a whole note, and how many each of those are, how many beats each of those are given, okay? Remember, we have our quarter notes or 1 beat or 1 foot tap, our half notes, which is this note right here, the note that's not filled in but still on a line, that's a half note, and then our complete circles with no stem at all is a whole note, and those get 4, okay? So merrily we roll along. Here we go. Using our tongue, not breathing too heavy. We got it. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Not bad. Now, I had a couple breathing problems there, which made my instrument sound a little weird, and it's very easy for your instrument to sound a little weird with breathing problems too. Making sure that when we do breathe, we're getting clean, fresh air. Sometimes that means breathing the air out. Sometimes we've been holding in air too long, so that we need to breathe some of that bad air out so that we can get the good air in. Okay. So making sure that we're not just breathing in more and more, but that we're also breathing out at times, so that the air that we get or the air that we have is always clean and always fresh. One more time on Merrily We Roll Along, and then we're going to move on to the next page. Here we go. With our foot taps. 1, 2, and it might be easy for you to just lift your heel so that we're not we don't have to exert too much energy tapping the front of our foot. Just tap your heel. The heel tap is much easier than the actual toe tap. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. And one awesome way to get these songs down is just to memorize them. You know what this song sounds like. You've probably heard it so many times, especially by now. Just memorize where your fingers go next so that you don't have to actually read the music. You can just play this song from memory. I love playing from memory. It's much easier for me to memorize a song and just play it than to actually go and find the song and read the music. So if you have a great memory, try to memorize these songs every time as well. Moving on to the next page if you're following along. All right. Again, we're only working with the notes B, A, G today, and we might get to a new note. We'll see how this lesson pushes. But for right now, we're going to work on the exercise 7. Remember when I was talking about exercise 7 yesterday in measure 3? You see there's 4 measures, and each measure is broken up by a line. You can see that line right there. On measure 3, we have a jump. So we don't just move our finger up one, which is easy. We have to move 2 fingers at the same time. All right. That is a little bit trickier, especially because if we move our fingers, we kind of want to move all of them or move one of them and then the other one a little bit slower, making sure that we have to move these fingers at the same time. Otherwise, it won't sound correct. All right. I'm going to put the notes down here with you guys. All right. So we have a note that's on the second line from the bottom. And what's our numeric what's our acronyms that we use to remember notes from the lines? Think about it real quick. The first word is every. Then the second word is good. Boy does fine. 5 lines, 5 words. And we're looking for the note that's on the second line. So we look for the second word, every good. So we know that this second line note is a G. All right, then we come across that note that's on the space. All right, so what do we do? Face equals space. Face. So remember, we got the word face. What's the second letter of the word face? Think about it. A, F-A. So we know that the second space is A. And then we come back to a line notes, and by process of elimination, we're only working with 3 notes here. The note is going to be B, or you could just do every good boy. It's on the third line, boy, so that's a B there. All right, then we should know the rest. If you see a note that looks like G, go ahead and put G because we already put it down. We know that it is, in fact, a G. All right. Once you find the first note, it's the same for the rest of the ones that are on that second line too. So you don't need to do all the work the second time. All right. I'm going to play French folk song. All right. We're going to do a little bit slower, and then we're going to do faster. You can read the letters or you can read the notes. Preferably read the notes so that we can get as much practice with that as possible. But you can do either or right now. All right. Quarter notes and half notes here. Remember to make sure you put half notes get 2 beats or 2 foot taps. Quarter notes get 1 foot tap, and a whole note gets how many foot taps? 4 foot taps. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. I think that went really well. It went really well for me. And sometimes I like to think that if I do really well, somehow you guys did really well. And maybe that's not true at all. I just like to be hopeful. But we're going to do it again a couple times again. And we're going to actually focus on just measure 3 first. We're going to look at measure 3. So you count your measures 1, 2, 3. We're starting on this note that says G, B, A. All right, we're just going to focus on that measure. So when we're practicing music, we don't always have to practice from the beginning and go to the end. Sometimes we can stop on a specific measure that is harder for us, and then we can work on that measure to make sure that when we get to that measure again, we play it perfectly. So we're going to start on measure 3, and I want us to just play G, B, like this. 3, 4. 3, 4. Try that with me. So we're going to go G, B, sh, G, B, sh. Try it. 2, ready, go. And I'll make my screen a little bigger so you can maybe see my fingers a little more. Like you look at my fingers here. Try it with me 3 times. Okay. Now, I feel like we got that a little bit better. We're going to add the 2 A's after that. So it should sound like this. That's measure 3. We're going to try measure 3 a little bit slower than that. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, again, go. Remember, we don't put 2 fingers back down. We just put 1 finger down to get to the A. G, B, A. And then the final note, we put that 3rd finger back down. Try the measure 3 again, and then we're going to go from the beginning. 1, 2, measure 3. Let's do it from the beginning. 1, 2, measure 1, 2, ready, go. And we got to hold that last note out for 4 whole counts. Are you tonguing? Are you covering the entire hole with your finger? Are you breathing enough? Are you breathing too much? All questions you need to be asking yourself when you play, okay? We're going to go back one more time through this a little bit faster, and then we're going to move on to exercise 8. Here we go. Exercise 7, French folk song. Remembering all the things. Is your posture straight? Are you breathing? Are your fingers covering the hole? If you need to rewind this song, go back and try it again. No problem with that. Here we go. French folk song. Final time. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. If you need to do that again, remember, like I said, feel free to rewind and try on your own. Moving on to exercise 8. Now, this exercise is a little trickier because now we're working with eighth notes. Now, we've played eighth notes before in exercise 1, 2, and 3, and 4, actually. Exercise 1 through 4 had eighth notes in it. All right, but now we're reading eighth notes with quarter notes and rest. All right, so we need to make sure that we are not getting confused by the amount of notes on the page, but more so where the notes are. All right, that's all we need to know because we can easily play these notes. Eighth notes are easy to play, but sometimes they get tricky because there's so many lines and there's so many notes on the actual square, on the actual measure. All right, so I'm going to play this one for you. You guys can just watch me play it. Remember, eighth notes are T, 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 T. Remember, quarter notes are ta, so the first 2 measures go like this. T, 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 ta, sh. All right, that's the first 2 measures. Now, I want to say something really quickly about measures here. Yesterday, I was saying that each measure has 4 counts in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the most common amount of beats in a measure is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why they call it common time over here. So if you look on the YouTube video, if you're watching on the actual page, you can flip over the YouTube video. We call it common time. So sometimes instead of writing 4, there should be 2 number 4s here. Sometimes instead of writing 2 number 4s, we write a C because we know that means common time. We know that we're in the most common time possible, which means 4 beats to a measure. Now, just because it's the most common doesn't mean that that's how it always is. Right here, you can see there's a 2 over a 4, which means that there are 2 beats per measure. All right. Assuming that almost all measures can possibly have 4 beats in it, we put a 4 down here. And the 2 means that there's only 2 per measure now. So the first measure goes 1, 1 and 2 and 1, 2. 1 and 2 and 1, 2. All right, so we don't count to 4 on this one. We only count to 2. It's not going to matter too much because we're not counting this. But if we were counting it, it would matter. So for right now, we're just going to play the notes on the page. I'm going to play exercise 8 for you, and then we're going to work on it together. Okay? So here's how it sounds. It's not too challenging in terms of what notes to play and how many fingers we use and such, but we do have to use our tongue here to make sure that we can hear the difference in the eighth notes. Otherwise, it sounds like this. Although we can hear the difference, we can hear that little space in there when we breathe in and we do hoo, 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 hoo. We can hear that. It's not as clear and precise as the actual tongue. So making sure that we're using our tongue. What we're going to do is just play this. T, 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 ta. B, B, A, A, G. Sounds like this. We're just going to play that. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Try it again. Ready, go. B, B, A, A, G. Try it. One more time. Ready, go. If you need to practice that again, go back and do that part again. We're going to move on to playing both of those. All right. So the first measure goes like dot, 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 dot. Again, dot, 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 dot. So what we do is just play it 2 times in a row. Try that with me. 1, 2, ready, go. Shh, shh. Try that one more time. A little bit slower than that. 1, 2, ready, go. Shh, shh. All right. Now the last line here is pretty easy. We just go back and forth. B B A A B B A A B B A A G, and then we do the same thing we've done the first 2 measures. The only two measures that are completely different are B B A A B B A A. We just repeat B B A A 3 times in a row instead of 1 time and then a G. All right, so I'm going to do the second line, then you're going to do it with me. I'll do it first. Second line, right here. If you're following along on YouTube, you can see right here first on measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll do it together. I'll do it first. Here we go. 1, 2. Try that with me, you guys. A little bit slower. 1, 2, ready, go. Not bad. All right, we're going to do it from the beginning, and then we're going to move on from exercise 8 because I think we got this one down. All right. So moving on, we're going to start from number 1, and then we're going to do our bonus at the end of the video. We're going to sight read the bonus, and then we're going to start probably with the bonus on our next lesson. Exercise 8. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. I have a feeling we want to get another try on that, so we're going to do it one more time. If you ever notice, a music teacher's favorite thing to say is one more time, because then he gets an idea or he hears something that should be fixed, and he's like, oh, let's do it one more time. So if you ever stick with music, you're going to hear one more time a lot more than you want to hear it, all right? From the beginning, last time, guys, I promise, and then we're moving on to the bonus. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Not bad. If you want more practice with that, make sure to rewind it and do it on your own. Otherwise, we're going to move on to this last song here for the day. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to recite read this one again. All right. Another sight reading challenge, but I'm going to give you the notes on the bottom so that the sight reading isn't as challenging for you as without seeing it. All right. So that you can read both the notes on the actual page and notes on the bottom here. And remembering that we have some eighth notes, some whole notes, and some half notes, and some quarter notes. All right. So if you see a half note, make sure you give it 2 beats. Make sure you give it 2 foot taps. If you see a quarter note, make sure you play the entire foot tap. 1 foot tap for quarter notes. If you see an eighth note, now eighth note's a little trickier in that when we're playing an eighth note, all right, the actual second eighth note isn't a foot tap. It's your foot going up. So, dot, 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 dot. If you can see my hand touching the table, my hand touching the table is the first eighth note, and my hand going up is the second. T, 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 T. So your foot going up is the second. T, 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 T. Okay? 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. That's how we count eighth notes. We use and for the second eighth note because 2 eighth notes doesn't make 2 beats. 2 eighth notes is still only 1 beat. It's just two notes in that 1 beat. T, 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 T. Okay? So our foot going up is where the second eighth note goes. I'm just giving you some pointers as we sight read this. All right? This should be the thoughts going in your head when you're looking at this music and saying, okay, that's an eighth note. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1, 2. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1, 2. And remember, we see here that this is a 2-4. So we don't count to 4 in this song. We only count the 2. Every time we start a new measure, we go back to 1. Sight reading this song. We're going to do it twice, and then we're going to hang this up and move on to tomorrow. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. And I held that out a little longer than I should, but that's okay. That song sounded like it was about to be a holiday tune, but it wasn't. It was its own tune. So we're going to do this one more time, guys. It's okay if you didn't get that perfectly. If you want to go back and do it again with me, you can. If you want to practice it on your own, just pause the video and reread this song over and over again. You can also do that. We're going to do this one more time, and then we're moving on to our next song tomorrow. All right, this will be the last song we do today. Recorder lesson 4 tomorrow, but I have a feeling you guys did some awesome work. We're going to finish this, and then we're going to work on this a little more tomorrow and move on from there. Here we go. Last time, guys, for today. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Not bad. I think that is a little bit more challenging because of how many notes there are and how many times it moves. But I think you guys can do it. And again, if you have trouble, just rewind it and watch it until you get it right. As always, Mr. Isaac has 3 important things for you guys. You are kind, you are smart, you are important. I'm happy to have been working with these recorders for you all. Again, if you don't have a recorder, please find a way to reach out to me. I've been trying my best to make sure everyone gets one. We have enough for every student. So if you still don't have your own, you could possibly order one from the internet. They don't take that long to get to your house, or you can buy, or you can just, again, find a way to get yours from me. But hopefully you guys have it by now and you have been practicing. Looking forward to what you guys bring to me in the talent show. And until then, I will see you guys tomorrow.